everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We're back on GT Sport and back with a quick 3-lap sprint race at the Nurburgring GP track, driving the Porsche Cayman Club Sport GT4 race car. You can see starting from pole position, we just get away with traction control on lowest setting to try and help me with the start. The first ever start I've done like this, and we don't get the best start. You can see P2 gets a much better, everyone seems to get a better start than us. We're managing to stay in P2, a guy just comes down the inside there, outbrakes himself and nearly takes out the leader, but we both just about get through that without any contact to anyone else. So still in P2. That is definitely something I need to work on in this game, is my starts from a standing start, as I've never done them. It's always been a rolling start so far, so I was quite surprised to go into his lobby and actually see that it wasn't a rolling start, it was actually a standing start. And it caught me out in the first race more so than this race. We had traction control completely off and we got a terrible start. I think we went down to like 4th or something, but we did get ourselves back up the field and actually got the win, luckily, in that race. But this race was a little bit different. We obviously got the okay start and we're behind TWR Jeremy now, going for the attack and trying to get ourselves back in the lead, because we definitely had the better race pace and pace overall on this track. We were very strong on this track, so I was really just trying to push and get into the lead as soon as possible. Working our way into the really fast chicane. I was really trying to stay in this slipstream at this point to make sure I'm in a position to make a move if a move becomes available. So you can see there we're getting closer and closer to the rear gearbox of the Porsche in front of me, and we go into the braking zones. We brake nice and early, take the curb reasonably well. We could have took more curb now, but we run a little bit wide, but luckily we managed to stay in his slipstream. He seems to run a bit wide out of that corner, and that gives me a little bit of a run now down into the chicane. You can see I'm getting his slipstream more and more and more. So at this point I was thinking, do I make a move at this point? But I don't think it would have been a good idea. So he goes a little bit defensive there, so what I do is try and make him think that I'm going to go for that move, but I'm not going to. I go back over to the right hand side, get ready to make sure I can get a nice clean exit from this corner. You can see how close we are at this point, right on the gearbox. So I'm going to go and fake a move to the right hand side so I can swing back over to the left to widen my line and to shrinken his line and try and get on the power real early. But unfortunately, when we try and get on that power, the rear starts to go a little bit loose and we lose a bit of exit speed. Unfortunately, we would have been very close without that little bit of rear sliding. Now going into the second lap, you can see we're approaching the first corner. We're going to have another little look there to make him think that we're going to go for that, but he obviously knows that I'm not going to go for that, and we just go through this first corner nice and easy. He runs a little bit wide there, we take a more tight line, getting ourselves further over to the right hand side of the track so we can attack this left hand part. He gets a little bit of oversteer and so do we, both run a little bit wide there. Going into the left-hander, I'm very close again. We take a much better line through this corner, and this gives me a much better exit onto this corner now when we exit this. So you can see there I've got more speed. We're going to get back in his slipstream and I'm going to look to make a move. So I fake a move to the left-hand side. Again, I want to make him go over to that left-hand side so I can swing it over to the right-hand side to get a better entry into this corner. And again, look how close we are at this point. I'm going to then do the same thing on this corner, try and get a nice tight line so I get a better exit than the guy in front. And we're going to work and try and make a move into this corner. So what I do again, I'm going to try and bring him over to the right hand side of the track, so I work him over to that right hand side so I can swing it over to the left hand side. Luckily he doesn't fall for it, unluckily he doesn't fall for it there so much, and he stays pretty much on the line that he should do. But we're really putting pressure on him at this stage. You can see we're kind of working like a tennis match where you're taking him to one side of the track, constantly moving him around. That's how I was trying to get this move done, because it was a 3-lap race. It's a lot more, obviously you've got to try and get the move done fast. So I do again over to the right hand side, weaken his angle into that corner, and then I get a better angle into this corner. Again, he's run wide because I've done that, and then I do the same thing for this corner, constantly trying to work him onto the opposite side of the track, you can see. And then we've got a nice slipstream chance now. As you can see, we're really close going into the chicane up ahead, and it looks like we're going to be able to make a move. So again, I'm going to go to this right hand side, fake that right hand side, and then back over to the left, and you can see he briefly goes to back double defend and he keeps that inside line, and I'm really compromised on my entry and exit of that line, that corner. And then the guy in third place manages to snatch back past us there. You can see he's managed to get on the inside of us there, so I stay really wide. I don't panic too much, I try and stay wide to get a nice clean exit from the last corner. But unfortunately again, that little bit of oversteer kicks in and we lose out there. So let's just have another little look at that on the replay. You can see how we were working the guy in front, going from side to side, and we had a really good slipstream going down this straight and a chance to make a move, but unfortunately we wasn't close enough to get our front end in, so I had to kind of back out of it when we were already on the inside line. You can see I faked it, went over to that inside, but then at that point I didn't want to lunge it up there and just cause an incident, so I backed out of it. But that compromised my entry and exit from that chicane, and the guy in third place took advantage of that, getting himself back up to P2, and we give him the space into that corner so I can try and get a better exit from that corner and make a move then into turn 1. But you can see the oversteer kicks in and we save it, but we're still in the slipstream there. And then we're going to have another little look now from the guy in third place. So you can see at this point now, he's quite a distance back and he's just holding back. You can see us working the track, trying to make a move. I'm obviously trying to keep it clean at the same time. I'm trying to just make the guy in front feel the pressure and trying to work him around the track. You can see I'm going right, then I go to the left. He then double defends a little bit, but we then have to brake and can't take that line. Look how compromised we was on the exit there, and the guy in P3 just sneaks up the inside and gets into P2. So well worked from the guy in P3. He held back and did that very nice, and took advantage of the moves that we were making up ahead and gets himself into second place. And P1's now got a little bit of a cushion there, so getting back into the action. You can see we're in P3 and trying to get into the slipstream with the guy up ahead now, so I really wanted to get that position back. I wasn't happy that I'd lost that position in that way. So again, going into turn 1, I look at that inside line, but then I realise I'm not going to make it, so I back out of it a little bit. But he runs really wide, knocking cones off the track. I stay really wide there to give him the space. I don't want to come into contact, and unfortunately we get on that little bit of dust and it loses us the rear end, and it causes us oversteer that we try to correct, and then we run really wide. But luckily both of us we don't actually lose control of the car. We keep the cars on the track. So final lap now, you can see it's just all about pushing as hard as we can on this lap. And again, now I've got to do the same thing that I did to P1. I've got to try and do it to P2 to try and get past him in this lap. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to get P1 in this short space time. As P2 goes a little bit wide and gets a little bit of oversteer on that corner. We're getting into the slipstream of him now. We're going to have a little look into this corner. He stays all the way over to the right, so I faked. You can see I was going to fake that move then, and I thought I'm not going to just try and cut over to that right hand side because there's a chance of contact. And then suddenly we got a random bit of oversteer on that corner. It really shouldn't have happened, that strange oversteer, and we run a little bit wide and lose a little bit of time that we really needed to stay with him there. And that was really unfortunate because we would have been right on his slipstream at this point. However, going into these chicanes now, we're going to try and get a nice clean entry, take a lot of that green Astra on the left hand side. You can see there we get a really good entry into that corner and get ourselves right on the rear gearbox of the GT Bocca into. And then going onto the straight, we've got to try and get in the slipstream, and I'm going to look to make a move. You know, this is a 3-lap sprint race. I'm going to try my best to make a clean pass on him. So looking at the angles now, I can see I've got a massive slipstream. He doesn't seem to have the slipstream of the car in front, so I faked down the left, get down the right hand side, brake really late. Look how late we braked, and just about hold it on the track. And you can see we get a little bit of oversteer, hold it on the corner, and we just about made that move work, and we've got ourselves back into P2. But now I've got to try and keep the car nice and close to the inside of the apex so that he can't make a move down that inside, and we do that nicely and we go over the line and we just about get P2 back. So let's have a little look at that move and how we did that. That was a really nice move. I was happy with that one. So if you watch now, we're going into the chicane and we fake to move down the left and then go down the right and brake extremely late, and you can see we miss the apex, but what we do is we get through the corner just about right. But it does give me a lot of lock I've got upon, and we get oversteer. But then this corner we hold the line. I think it actually taps our area where we lift off and make sure that we hold a tight line. You can see there we held the apex nicely, and he didn't have anywhere to go, and that gives us P2 back, and a great little sprint race that I really enjoyed. That thoroughly enjoyable race for a sprint race. Obviously I wish these races were a bit longer because they would be so much fun, but it's reasonably good because you've got to go for it in these races, and as long as you keep it clean, it's great fun. We had a great battle between the top 3 there, and I thoroughly enjoyed that race, and hopefully we'll be back with more of these races soon, as I really did enjoy that. This car really did suit me, and it's just such a shame that this car isn't as competitive as the other GT4s. I think they need to work on the BOP a bit on this, because I did notice we did a fairly okay time of I think it was a 2 minutes 3.4, and that's a full second off the top cars in the GR4 class. So I think they need to look at the BOP. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed that quick sprint race. We're going to be back with more videos very soon for GT Sport, Assetto Corsa and Project Cars 2s. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Thanks for watching everyone.